Am, is and are. Now these are three variations of the verb to be. We may get to talk about a couple more. We may be able to talk about was and were at the end if we've got time, but we'll see how we go. We get time. Now, hello there. I'm Ed from Speak English with Ed, where we give tips, tricks, help and information to ESOL speakers who are trying to pass the SELT tests to satisfy requirements of the British government and UKVI. If you get any benefit from this video, please give us a thumbs up. And if you haven't already, then tick the subscribe box down at the bottom there and ring the bell. That way YouTube will notify you when we release new videos. So, today we're talking about the verb to be in its am, is and are forms. Let's jump straight into it. So am, is and are. We've already said that it's part, or it's variations or conjugations as they call it, of the verb to be. Now, what is the verb to be? What is the verb to be? Well, the verb to be is a way that we talk about people, things, places, objects, feelings, emotions, all these sort of things to other people. We use the verb to be. But why are there just three variations, or why are we talking about three variations, am, is and are? Well, actually there's 8 variations on the verb to be. But we're just concentrating on these 3 because these are going to be the subject of a sentences that we're using them with. The subject of a sentence. Now, if you don't know what the subject of a sentence is, there's a video link up here. If you click that, you'll find out where we talk about pronouns and the subject and objects of a sentence. Video link. So, there's 3 different subjects that you can have of a sentence, and it would depend on who you are talking to as to which form of the verb to be that you use. So, we just said these are conjugations. Now, conjugate means to be able to use the verb in a way that fits better with the subject of the sentence. There we go. So we're going to start off with am. Am. When do you use am? Do you know when you use am? I bet you've used it 1,000 times today already, or you will have done. I feel sure. Am. Think of a sentence for yourself when you use am. Okay. Well, you use am when the subject of the sentence that the person that you're talking about in the sentence is yourself. Okay? When you're talking about yourself to somebody else, you use am. And you would use it in the form of I am cold. Oof, I'm cold today. I am cold today. Excuse me, my nose itches. I'm cold today. And you can use I am thirsty. That's another one. I am thirsty. Or I am happy. I'm happy today. I feel great. I'm on top of the world. I'm learning English. And I'm really, really happy. Okay, so that's I am. I am. 2 words. I am. But English speakers usually narrow this down. We don't usually say I am a lot. We probably write it more than we say it. But when we're talking, we usually say I'm. I'm. Not I am, but I'm. And the way we get that to be I'm is that we remove the A. If you noticed on there, I'm, there was no A, so I'm. We remove the A and we bring the I and the M together. That says I'm. Or im. I'm. Now, it's not I'm. We need to put apostrophe in there to make it I'm. So, we don't say I am, we say I'm. That way, it turns out that I'm cold. I'm thirsty. I'm happy. Not I am cold. You usually say I'm cold. Or I am thirsty turns into I'm thirsty. Or I am happy turns into I'm happy. Okay, now let's look at are. When do we use are? Well, we use are when the speaker is talking to the listener. The second person, we use are. When the subject of the sentence is the second person, we use are. And that would be, you are cold. And so I'm saying to you, you are cold. I'm talking to you. Or I'm saying, you are thirsty. You are thirsty. You are happy. You are. You and are go together. In the first one, I and am, they go together. Whenever you say I, you say I am. Whenever you say you, it's you are. You are. They just go together. And that's two words as you say you and are. But like the first one, we don't use you are. We shorten them down to your. Your. It's not your, because your means something that belongs to you. Something that belongs to you. This is your house. This is your car, etc. We say your. And that is done by removing the A from are again, bringing the two together and putting in that apostrophe. And the apostrophe is a thing that tells us that there's been a letter taken out. There's been a letter removed and they've been brought together. And that's just telling you that something has been removed. So when you've got your, it's you're cold, you're thirsty, and you're happy. All these have changed. They end same, but it's just that you've contracted, what we call contracted. You are into your. Okay? So, are you with me so far? Are you following along so far? Do you understand? Okay, well, here we go. We've got the next one, which is. Do you know when you use is? What we use am when you're talking about yourself, and we use are when you're talking about the person that you're talking to. But when do you use is? Well, you use is when you're talking about anybody else or somebody else that isn't yourself or the person that you're actually speaking to. Then you use is. So you can say, she is cold. You say she because you're talking about a lady who isn't the person that you're talking to. So you can say that she's cold. She could be here, but you're not talking to her. You're talking about her to somebody else. You can say, he is thirsty. Now you say he when you're talking about a man, because ladies and men have different pronouns. The pronoun for a lady here, the subject pronoun for a lady here is she, and the subject pronoun for a gentleman is he. So he is the one that is thirsty. He is thirsty. And if you're talking about something else, you're talking about a dog, you're talking about a budgie, you're talking about anything, a horse, anything, you would say it. It is happy. It is the third person pronoun for an object or a thing or anything that's not a he or a she. It becomes an it. So, once again, we've got she is, he is, and it is. And we can bring all those together just the same way that we did with I'm I am, I'm, and you're, you are, you're. And we can do the same with, in this case, it's going to be she's. She's. Not she is, but she's. And the first, and it's not an S sound, it's a Z sound. She's sound. It's like a Z or Z, as the Americans call it, Z. It's a Z, 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 she's. So, and the way that that happens is that we remove the I, bring them together, and add the apostrophe. And that makes it into she's. And when you put these into the other form, we get she's cold. When you put that into the sentence, it's not she is, she's cold. And you get he's thirsty. Not he is, but he's thirsty. It's okay to use either of these. You don't have to use pick one at any particular time. You can use either. He's is probably more common in the shortened versions. The contracted versions are probably more common in spoken English than they are in written English, but you can use both in either spoken or written English. And when it becomes to an object, it's happy. From it is happy to it's happy. So, do you understand all that? Let's just run through them again. I am is when you're talking about yourself to somebody else. So I'm talking about you, and I would say, oh, I'm cold. Right? I'm cold. I am gets shortened into I'm cold. I'm cold. You are is when you're talking about the person that you're talking to. You're talking to. You say, you are cold. Or which gets shortened down into you're cold. Remember, it's not your cold. Your cold means a cold that belongs to you, the cold that you have. But it's not your, it's your. You're cold. And when you're talking about a third person, somebody or something that isn't the person you're talking to, and you're not talking about yourself, you're talking about somebody else, then you say, she's cold. She is cold. Or he is thirsty, which comes down to he's thirsty. He's thirsty. With the Z, it's got this Z sound. He's, she's. And then you have it's happy. It's happy. It is happy. It's happy. But it's happy doesn't have the Z ending. The Z ending. It doesn't. It's a S. It's. Not it's Z. It's. So, she's, he's, it's. You get used to it. You do get used to it, believe me. Please, honestly, believe me, you will get used to it. I'll just wipe everything out. Now, I hope that you're getting some benefit from this video, and that it's helping you understand how to use the right verb with the right pronoun in the right place when you're talking about the right person. If it is, please give us a thumbs up. Everyone helps. Now, let's have a look at was and were. When do you use was and were? Do you know? What's the difference between am, is, and are, and was and were? What's the big difference between the two? Do you know? Let me tell you. Was and were are speaking about the past, things that have already happened. You're talking about the past. It's the past tense forms here. So let's look at was and were singular forms at the moment. We'll look at the singular form. You can see here, I was cold. I was cold. That means I was cold, but I'm not cold now. I was cold, but I'm not cold now. I'd say, oh, I was awfully cold last night. I was cold last night. Okay? Or you can say, she was thirsty. She was thirsty. That's putting to the third person. He was happy. He was happy. I was cold. She was thirsty. But he was happy. Okay. Or you could say, it was open. I went to the shop and it was open. Or when I went to the shop, it was open. You know, so all these things happened in the past. They all happened in the past. Now, we're still talking about singular people here, singular people. And I'm talking now about the person who I am talking to, directly to. And I can say, you were at home. I don't say you was at home. I say you were at home. And this is for you. You were at home. Okay? That's when talking about one person, one you. Now I can talk about two yous, or three, or four, or lots of yous. Right? And when I do, it's still you were at home. You were at home. Whether I'm talking about you and your daughter, you were both at home. You and your dog were out for a walk. I'm talking about more than one. You and your family were on holiday. So you're not just talking about one person. Well, in the second instance, this is a plural. You were talking about more than one. When you're talking about the second person pronoun, it's were for both in here. You were. And the same as when you're speaking about a third person, someone who isn't the person you're speaking to, and it isn't yourself. You are then speaking about somebody else, then you say they in the plural words. When you're talking about them in the singular, it's she, he, and it. But in the plural, it's they. They were at home. So that's everything there is to know. We've managed to get everything in. So I hope that you've enjoyed this. Watch this video a few times. Make sure that you understand it. You need to understand it and make sure that you get the right pronoun matched with the right verb. So with that, I'm going to say, I hope that you've enjoyed it. If you did, please give us a thumbs up, as we've said. And as I said, if you haven't already subscribed, then please hit the subscribe button just down there and ring the bell. That way you'll get notified from YouTube when we release new videos. So until the next time, this is Ed Anguish from Speak English with Ed saying, have a great time. Practice, 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 and bye. Box down at the bottom there and ring the bell. That way YouTube will notify you when we release new videos. So today we're talking about the verb to be in its am, is, and are forms. Let's jump straight into it. Keith. Are we videoing? First.